What is going on, chorus members? Choir Maestro here. And we're picking up today in Foundation right where we left off. So, quite a few things are happening. First and foremost, we have a courier, actually two couriers approaching the village. Three couriers approaching the village. This is going to be because we built the manor house and unlocked all of the estates. So before we get into the couriers and really get into what we're going to be doing today, I would like to talk a little bit more about the prosperity and things like that we were talking about. So there are 4 different tiers of unlocks. So previously we were looking at the common path where we saw like the different, clothing and farming and stonemason's hut, etc. But there are 3 additional tabs here. We've got labor, kingdom, and clergy, and those directly correlate with these 3 up here. So we've got labor, kingdom, and clergy. So the higher your prosperity, which you can see here, prosperity is a measure of your village's success and is impacted by multiple factors listed in the book. A high prosperity will help you unlock new content in the common path and each estate progression page. So if you notice here, let's look into the clergy. Prospect tier requires 10 prosperity. Well, we're at 25, so we've already got that unlocked. We can unlock things like the monastery, which I'll get into at some point, the rustic church splendor package, small stone wall, and the clergy splendor package. But then you'll notice that this tier here is unlocked not just because of the prosperity need, but also the clergy rating. Rating is the perception an estate has of your village. Clergy rating is required to unlock new progression content, determines the clergy estate influence cap. We'll get into that later at another day. But what's important to know is that this is essentially their opinions of you. Now you can tell the labor kingdom we already have a 10 rating. That is because we built the manor house, and you can see here labor splendor was 10. So I didn't really talk too much about that when I was building it, but labor splendor and other types of splendor, i.e. kingdom splendor and clergy splendor, are going to come from other forms of things. So if we go back into the book here, we'll notice military fort here under kingdom, and then we've got the kingdom splendor package. We'll unlock military encampment, weapon stand, bow stand, war hat stand. Those will all give splendor, and then the same with the clergy here, splendor. So in order to get your opinions built up of the different factions, you have to build things related to the faction, and I feel like that makes complete and total sense. So one thing I'm going to look at doing, I'm actually going to go for this market splendor package. It's only 25 coins. I have 377, and it will get us some colorful tints for the market stalls. I really don't like the basic looking tints, so that's just a cosmetic thing mostly, but it will get us some splendor. And then here in the kingdom tab, we are going to not unlock anything for now because the military fort takes a lot of planks and a lot of people. But in the clergy tab, we are going to go ahead and unlock the clergy splendor package. And that is going to come in handy because here in this episode we are going to build the rustic church. That will get it to start getting down this service need here that we've started developing since unlocking things. Let's go ahead and get started, but first let's see what this courier has to say. Advice in earning influence. An isolated community of fishermen are looking for a kind-hearted builder. They need help constructing a bridge which would connect their village to the rest of the realm. They may not have much to offer, but they promise to share good words about your generosity amongst the laborers. My best builder will draw you a blueprint. They'll attempt to do it, or let me hire someone on your behalf. We could spend gold to do that. I don't particularly want to do that when we have a 90% chance of it getting completed, so let's go ahead and try. There we go, it was completed. You helped the small community build a bridge. They promised good words in return, and you can see we now have 15 influence. Now this number here next to our influence, we have a cap that will increase or decrease how much you have, so it will naturally trend towards that. We use the influence to purchase things down here, so you can see, for example, to unlock the tax office you would need 30 prosperity, but you would also have to have 5 influence in order to unlock this. So it's very important to get those things from those quests when you see them. In the meantime, I'm going to see what this other courier has. The kingdom recognizes your efforts in establishing a settlement. Gain 100 coins. Ooh, that's very nice. I'm thinking we're gonna go ahead and go into the unlock tab here. Let's unlock contractual wage edict. I'll get into why when we have a bailiff, and the labor splendor package. Now let's take a look here. Favoring an estate. Your village has caught the attention of the 3 estates of the realm, and they expect you to build monuments to their splendor. Such constructions will undoubtedly define the future of your people. and they wonder which of the kingdom, clergy, or laborers you will oblige first. Our churches will be the pride of the clergy, our manor houses will serve the laborers, our forts will be the vanguards of the kingdom. I will continue on my own. So this one's really up to you as to what you want to do. I would probably say that the forts one is the hardest. This one just wants you to build a rustic church with a stone bell tower, which isn't that big of a deal. This one, however, we could already complete, and then we would have that finish. But I'm not sure that I want to do that. I'm thinking because we're gonna focus on the church this episode, we're gonna go with this. Labor notable tier unlocked. There we go. So now we can click up here on progression, go under labor, and then we can see we've got these things unlocked here. So I'm gonna pause while I talk about this. The very first thing, tax office, that is a very important thing. We will want to unlock that, so I'm going to go ahead and do so. Tavern refined architecture, we have to have a tavern to get that tavern wall. Milling taxes, we have to have mills. Fair reputation, newcomers ignore the happiness immigration factor, that would be this. But that would only be the happiness portion. I don't particularly see that to be useful because I generally have high happiness in my towns, but it could depend on your situation. Devoted folks privilege. Labor and clergy mutual splendor negative impact is reduced by 50%. So what it's talking about there is the splendor. But what this is saying is that it allows you to earn splendor in both labor and clergy, and it will not negatively impact them by 50% as much. Editor will here, and I just want to say that I did a pretty poor job of explaining that. So what the devoted folks privilege does is it reduces the effect of gaining splendor in labor and clergy on the other factions. What that means is that if you build it into labor, then you will have a 50% reduction in the amounts of negative splendor you get towards clergy and kingdoms. So hopefully that clarifies it a little bit, but let's get back to the video. So we're gonna unlock that. I hope that made sense. And then right over here in edicts and privileges, we just went ahead and slopped that into the labor slot. We've got kingdom and clergy as well, but as you can see, those are locked. We're going to do contractual wage edict here in our regular edicts. And then I think that's it for now. So let's go ahead and unpause and see what this courier's got. Meeting the elders, they're going to give us 10 tools and 10 influence. Very nice. Thank you for that. Okay. So while things are going here, I think we're going to place the church down over here, kind of behind this industry. I'm thinking that we're going to keep it somewhat simple. Oh, before I do that, we need to go in here and unlock the Rustic Church Splendor package for the advice that we have. So now we can go in here, let's place our church, and you can see, so if you do this normally, you'll just have these 3 options, but with the Rustic Church Splendor package, we were able to get these options, and then the stone bell tower, as well as these other gates, and then I have this because of the clergy splendor package that I unlocked. So I think we're going to start with just the thatched chapel. That's going to make it a little bit easier to build. We're going to go here, and then I think I'm going to do a tiled chapel, maybe? No. Yes, we'll do a tiled chapel here with the stone bell tower. I kind of like the look of that. And then we will have a stone entrance here. And last but certainly not least, we are going to put a cross up on top of the tower. Now we can see this is going to take a substantial amount of resources. 84 stone, 19 planks, 11 tools, and 15 polished stone. The polished stone, that's coming from this tiled chapel. And actually one last time, I've decided I'm going to go with just this. I don't want to use the polished stone only because that is going to make it a lot more difficult to get this built. So let's go ahead and get this rustic church underway. We're going to do it there, right there, and it will be nice. I'm not going to accept this person just yet. I actually think... Oh, I accidentally just accepted them. That's okay. So let's go in here to the marketplace, and now I am going to build some tents. Now you'll remember I mentioned that we don't have the ability to make cloth for quite a while. I'm actually planning on purchasing cloth up to a limit of 5 just so I can put these tents down. What they do is that they add 20 to the capacity of the attached building part, meaning that instead of only being able to hold 20 items total, they'll be able to hold 60 items total. So I like to do my red for food and blue for goods and then green for luxury, but you can absolutely do just whatever you want with the colors. It does not matter, it's just up to preference. So let's go ahead and get that marked down for building. And let's see what this courier wants. There's so much going on this episode. They want us to build a market, reach 5 labor splendor with the market. Our market will be splendid. Yes, it shall. I never did assign a hunter to the hunter's hut. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. And I need to mark the hunter's zones, so let's get that done as well. So now we'll start being able to produce boar, and then we are building the butchery, so I'm going to go ahead and accelerate some time here. And then before I forget, I do need to mark the cloth ready for purchase right here. Purchase up to a limit of 5. Alright, and I will see you guys with some progress. Alright, and now the butchery is completed. Let's go ahead and assign 2 butchers to there. Got a courier approaching the village again. So they want us to accumulate 25 stone and they will pay us 50 fish. I don't need the fish, so I'm going to go ahead and just refuse this. It's fine. They will give you another opportunity later on. And then I was just noticing that in the Great Hall we do have a couple of things that we can build now. So we've already got the Great Hall. However, if we open up the sub-buildings, we see we've got the Bailiff Office, the Treasury, and the Tax Office. So the Bailiff Office, I generally like to do it just as a small little, as a small little shack like that. It does not have to be anything big, but you can definitely make it something fancy. So we're going to go ahead and just build that and mark that as a priority. Actually, no, we're not going to mark that as a priority. Now we've got a couple of other things. We've got the Tax Office. I like to make this one a separate building. Again, it's just personal preference. So we're going to put that here, with a door right in the middle of it and its own little chimney. Cute little building. We're going to build that. And then last but not least, and definitely not least, is the Treasury. Now, I didn't really touch on it last time, but your coins up here have a maximum of up to 500. That's just the default. If you'll notice here, if I hover over the rustic hall underneath the Treasury subsection, it says it expands your treasury capacity by 150. These will all increase your treasury capacity by different amounts. It just depends on what you want it to kind of look like. I will generally build the treasury off the back of the tax office because I feel like that just makes the most sense. So let's put it there. And then we're going to put one more here. And actually, let's just go for that and make it a nice little 4-way cabin. And we're going to build that. So once that's finished, which will take a good while, once that's finished, it will increase that maximum. Alright, so I'm going to prioritize the church just to make sure that they are focusing on that. It's going to take quite a long while, so I will see you guys when that is finished. And before I forget, because we do have meat being produced now, I need to go ahead and add a 3rd market stall here. I'm going to add it just right over here. Again, doesn't really matter as long as you get it in there. And we are going to go ahead and add the market tent on there. So let's get that built. And I'm going to mark that one as a priority here. I will be assigning whatever new villager I get to it. I'll have one coming here very shortly. But again, I will see y'all when I've got more progress for you. And the rustic church has been completed. So if we click on it, we can see here it has a weekly attendance capacity of 24. You can change how frequently the bells ring and what type of bells they are. I guess you can't change that. You can also change the pitch of the bell. I personally like the C2, and if we get close, we can hear it. Or is it the C? Yeah, that's the one I like. So now we should start seeing that service need go down, and the nice thing about that is that that will allow us to start getting into commoners. Let's see what this courier's got. We are pious servants of the faith. Words of your village's first church have reached the clergy. They appreciate your dedication to the faith and thus hold you in higher regard. Let's go. So we can see a new tale can be heard. Merry villagers, from your seat in the Great Hall, you can hear people singing and laughing outside. You made sure everyone had everything they needed to be content and succeeded. Thanks to you, life is good. Very well, happiness bonus of 10% for villagers with a village profile. That'll help our immigration, not that we're really trying to do that right now. Sorry about my son in the background. But what we're going to work on now is we're going to work on getting this built up, which means we need more planks and stone. We have 22 planks at the moment, but we're actually getting a little low on wood. So I would like to see about getting some more lumber camps put down. That's going to require us to purchase a new territory, but as you can see, we've got 498 gold and we are making 87 per month. So let's go ahead and look at the territories, and take a look and see which one would be good for some wood cutting. I'm kind of thinking right off the bat this one will be nice. It's quite large and it has access to a lot of this, so I could very easily set a lumber camp right here and have them work on that. So actually, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and purchase this one. So as I'm looking at this area and was thinking of placing down a lumber camp, I noticed that I'm gonna probably need to have a separate village center over this direction. That's for a multitude of reasons, but not least of which will be all of these mining shafts. People will get very unhappy if their houses are too far away from their workplace, and I believe that this is actually pretty far already. So if I'm going to go all the way out here this direction, I will actually need to get a new village center set up as well. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase an additional territory. Now you can see this one is increasing the upkeep to 10 per month. So it's getting significantly more expensive, but I'm not too worried about it. That shouldn't dip too much into our coins and our monthly profit. However, I am going to be taking all 4 of these people here to get started on the stuff out here. I'm going to purchase that territory first and foremost, and then come in here and do this, and then I'm going to place the lumber camp right about, I think right about here is good. We are going to prioritize that so that they'll build it before the manor house, and I'm going to, before I forget, add another builder onto here so that we can get this stuff done pretty quickly that we're doing. Also going to expand the extraction zone. Now, yet again, we are going to eventually want all of this to be cut down, so we're just going to paint it all in. But you certainly don't have to if you don't want it to be cut down and you want to have the forester's hut, for example. I, however, really want this land to build on, especially this nice strip here in between the water. I could see some village centers popping up here. So while they're working on that, we find our woodcutter's camp, which is here. We pretend that there's a circle around it, and we're going to build a bunch of housing right here. For now, we're just going to kind of go like this, and actually we're going to shave that back a little bit. But I could see it being something like that, and then eventually expanding out. We're going to have the marketplace right in the middle here. And while we're placing things, let's go ahead and have our zoning areas pulled up. I'm going to place another granary right about here, I believe. But we are going to go ahead and pause that really quick because we won't have any need for building a second marketplace until we have multiple houses out here. The one thing I do want to get placed down is a well, so let's go ahead and get that placed down maybe right about there. All right, and now we can unpause again. So we have some advice here: the aspiration of a village. Finally, by yourself in the Great Hall, you spend a few minutes of silence thinking about your aspiration and the future of your village. Providence has been good for you and your people so far, and it seems like everything is possible. We should all aspire to greatness. Let's think about this later. I will continue on my own. We're all going to aspire to greatness. So let's look at the village aspiration here. These are generally just goals for your village, for yourself, for what you want to do. There's a bunch of different things you can do. The easiest of them is probably going to be Famous Builder, reaching a prosperity of 500. That's just because you'll get prosperity pretty quickly just from purchasing territories and building things. As you can see, we're at 45 right now. But if we scroll down here, there's definitely some harder ones. For example, dedicated to the clergy hard. Build the monastery, abbatial church, which is down here. The very last thing requires 400 prosperity and 100 clergy rating. And then you can see on top of that, you also have to never promote a villager to the next status. That is an extremely hard one because that means you won't be able to get any of these additional resources that are down here. You will never be able to make tools or cloth or bread or anything like that. So it's definitely a lot harder and not something I would recommend going for your first time around. Me personally, I'm just going to track a Famous Builder and build the monastery abbatial church. So let's come out here and take a look. We can see that there are no houses being built yet. That's because there have to be workers nearby in order for them to want to build houses. As soon as we see this worker lumber camp pop up, we should see some houses appearing in the forest here. Let's go ahead and turn off the zoning areas so we can take a look at our village. We can see there are more houses being built here. They'll just kind of build around here because this is the closest part to our village center. And then we can see we've got the third market. Let's go ahead and place the meat in there and add another market tender. So that's going to make them very happy because they will now be able to purchase 3 forms of food. I notice our berries are dwindling a little bit, so we will have to think about purchasing this territory over here and getting some more berry production up and running. but for now I think we should be okay, at least for the foreseeable future. So let's go ahead and accelerate some time, and we'll get a bunch of this stuff built. I will come back when this lumber camp is finished as well. Alright, and this lumber camp is built, so let's go ahead and assign. I'm going to assign 2 villagers just for now. And then once those villagers get over here and start doing their work, we should see some houses appearing down here. We can see we've got 3 more people coming in. I am going to take them. We got 4 more. I am going to take them, and I'm actually going to go ahead and, while these things are being built, I'm going to purchase this territory because we do need to start getting some berries up and running. I'm going to go ahead and assign a second transporter to the granary and build this gathering hut at a high priority. We're going to place some residential down about here with a small circle in the middle for our market. Alright, and let's accelerate some more time while they build this, and I will be right back. Alright, so the gathering hut is built, and we've actually also had the bailiff office be built, if you remember from the beginning of this episode. So we can click to assign a bailiff, but requires commoners or better. So we need to look at how to promote villagers, and the way that we promote villagers is by fulfilling all of their needs. So you can see there are a couple of people here without the housing need. That's because of us building their houses. But let's go ahead and click on this one here. You can see water, food, housing, and service are all filled, and now we have a button here that says promote villager. So for 20 gold we can promote a villager to the commoner status. That will open them up to new needs as well as new jobs, and that's the important bit, because without upgrading them into commoners we wouldn't be able to get all of the extra more advanced resources. So let's go ahead and promote some villagers. We can see that she's unemployed. There's a couple of ways to promote them. You can click on them individually and do that. I personally like going to the mandates, and then we see here promote villagers to a higher status. We're going to open the list. And then we can see here, I like to promote people who are unemployed. The reason being is that if you promote your serfs that are in a job, you will have to replace them once you move them to a higher tier of job. Whereas if you promote people who are unemployed, you can just automatically have that be filled. Promote Ranilla here, and we've got advice here to levy funds. Let's ask the villagers for coins. So this is a mandate as well. Discuss a levy with your villagers. Let's discuss it. You summon people at the Great Hall to discuss a potential levy. The villagers don't look too happy about giving away their hard-earned coins, but you know they will pay if they have to. It has to be done. Happiness bonus minus 30% for villagers. Gain 114 gold from your serfs, 4 gold from your commoners. Forget it, I changed my mind. So I think we are going to go ahead and do this. We have a 95% satisfaction, and I don't really need a lot of immigrants anytime soon since I have 5 that are unemployed currently. And we are a little lower on the gold side, so I would like to go ahead and get that up. So let's go ahead and do that. We can see immediately Levy Mandate minus 30% to our happiness. Now, happiness, if it's too low, will cause your villagers to leave, but it's not typically something you need to worry about. You can go through quite a bit of hardship before any villagers leave. And we have our well built over here. I haven't seen them placing down any houses just yet over here. I'm just clicking around to see if I can find them. So it might be that these houses are just close enough to here, but I wanted to go ahead and get that place down so that I didn't have to worry about that in the future. And we're gonna just go ahead and right click a little donut in the middle for our marketplace. So I'm gonna go ahead and accelerate some time here, get these forests chopped down a little bit. I will probably bring you back when I've got... So actually, let's go ahead and assign the bailiff. Now, happiness is less impacted by 10%. You'll notice here, this has an effect, and this doesn't work just like assigning a regular job does. You actually have to name bailiffs, and depending on the commoners you have, they'll have different effects. So if we go ahead and check, and let's upgrade Paterna to the next status. Now if we go into the bailiff's office, we've got 2 here. Happiness is less impacted by 10%, or job learning speed is increased by 10%. Obviously, I think the happiness one is more important, especially since we've got that levy mandate in effect right now, so we're going to go ahead and nominate that. But this would refer to those skills that I've mentioned. So if we see here, Forager level 1, job learning speed is increased by 10%, they'll gain level in this job 10% faster. So let's go ahead and nominate Ranilla. And now that we have a bailiff, we can get started on prospecting minerals. So this is going to be a very, very beneficial way of finding out exactly how you're going to go about building your town. If we can get lucky enough to get some marble early, we'll be able to sell it. But the various resources that you can get are going to be marble, iron, stone, quartz, and gold. Through all of those things, most of them are useful. The stone one is not as much. I've never personally had a need to build a stone mine, but I could definitely see the benefit of it so that you don't have these stonecutters camps kind of dotted around. Speaking of, let's destroy that one. I have one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and accelerate some time here. I will come back when I've got either the Bailiff done on that one, or I'll come back when the Great Hall is finished, although that's probably going to take a while, so I will see y'all in a little. Well built, I sure hope it is. And so now that the tax office is built, we can notice here that it is actually finished. We can assign a tax collector, but it does also require a commoner, so we're going to go back here under our mandates and promote. Let's promote Jacamina, and then go ahead and get Jacamina set there. So the way that we set taxes is actually going to be in the book under economy. So we've got our budget. We can see last month I was negative. This month I'm trending positive. That's mostly because of territory acquisition. So if we go under to taxes, we can see here that we've got some bars we can click on. So depending on how high you increase your taxes will depend on how much gold you get, but also how much impact on happiness it has. For now, we're just going to go ahead and click on this first tier. This green bar indicates that they will be relatively unhappy, but still fine about the taxes. The orange bar, they're going to be very unhappy with it. And then the red bar, they will be mad and probably leave. So for now, we're just going to set it here. We can see that that gets us an additional 42 per month. So this 82 we can see is because of 100 trade and upkeep and territory upkeep. And then to see the taxes actually being generated, if you right click this here, we can see that these houses have a maximum capacity of 42. This one's got a capacity of 14, and they will slowly accumulate gold over time, and the tax collector will go around and collect. So actually excellent timing on this. I just found an iron deposit here, so that's going to be something worth getting up and running. Autosave. And because of it being such an impactful thing, I think we're going to go ahead and look at purchasing that territory so we can do it relatively soon at least. But we can go ahead and have our bailiff go back out and start prospecting again, and then just right click this to make it go away. Okay, I will bring you guys back when I've got more updates. So I just got a housing insufficient notification for our bailiff here. That's because housing for commoners, they want the houses to be upgraded. We haven't really talked about that. So under the decorations tier, if we click on the house real quick, we can see in order to upgrade, we need a beautification area and a commoner resident. So to get a beautification area, you need to place down decorations. Now my favorite way of doing that is just with the pruned hedges. So we're gonna place one here. And then now we can see that if we place another one, it's going to have a green highlight on these houses. That means they are included in the beautification area. So let's go ahead and place another one just right about down here. And one right there. And then look, we can see immediately this house started upgrading. That would be one of the houses we have with a commoner inside of it. And then we've got a second house upgrading here, so we can see that we had a couple of upgrades that were just waiting on that beautification area. And then our people will also lounge around the decorations and kind of sit here and relax and just take their time. So a new tale can be heard. Berry surplus. There is no more pleasant sight than a mountain of berries such as the one stockpiled in your granary. This red wealth reassures your villagers that they know they will be well fed for a while. It's a nice happiness bonus of 10% for our villagers. Very well. And our market is improved. People rejoice, your market looks ready for trading fair. So I went ahead and placed down 2 new warehouses. I realized that everything was being housed kind of in one, and that's not really good or efficient. So I've got this one over here that is going to be housing wood and stone, not polished stone. And then we're going to have this one in the middle. That one's going to be removed on the left. The one in the middle is going to house planks, tools, cloth, and polished stone. I've got it housing stone right now, but I have it with cloth because I actually forgot that we weren't trading any, so I didn't get any, but we're going to have this other warehouse as wood and stone. And then I currently have stone assigned to the middle one, but I am emptying that. Like I said, we're going to have polished stone since that's right here near all of the manufacturing. And speaking of polished stone, let's go ahead and put down the stonemason's hut. That does take 5 cloth, so we will have to wait for a trader, a merchant, but I will be right back when that's done. So the stonemason hut is built. I've got somebody assigned to it. They are finishing up their task that they were currently working on, and then they will come here. Polished stone at first isn't going to be used for much except for trading. We currently have it set to sell everything above 0, so anything we make we will just sell. However, when we get into building the monastery, that's going to be more useful for that. Alright, but I think I'm going to leave this episode here. We made a lot of good progress. We've got some houses being built for everybody. We've got our tax and treasury built. We've had some upgrades to our houses in the downtown, and it's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. We've got our storage specialized here, as well as our first commoners up and running. So yeah, I'd say we've made some good progress. In the next episode, we're going to look at building the monastery and seeing what all entails with that. So in the meantime, I hope you guys hear the music and everything, and otherwise, have a great day.